Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. There are shows and there are shows, and there's this show with Christina Deering that I've been looking forward to for a long, long, long time because she's she's a guiding soul
Mm.
and incorporates such fascinating things of being a shaman and spirituality with being an entrepreneur. That's just not it's not everyday stuff. And my spiritual journey, and of course the mechanics of the universe has brought us together for this time. And I've shared some of my spiritual stuff because I couldn't wait to share it with Christina because my spiritual stuff I always promote, and got me to write There's a Tortoise in My Hair, a Journey to Spirit. So it's powerful stuff. And I wanted to share it with somebody who is a real expert. And there's so much to learn from this session with Christina about the spirituality and about entrepreneurship and about her journey and how it works. And last night I did her breathing twice. I did her breathing. You can go to her website, which we'll talk about, and ChristinaDeering.com, and
Hmm.
take that little 5 minute thing, and it's wonderful. And most people have no clue about it, but they should do it because
Yeah.
you're the whole thing. But anyway, this for me is just so important and relevant, and I'm just so glad the universe and Maria, out there. Overseas, got us together. So thank you, Christina, for being here. And
Yeah.
how about doing a little intro, a little bio, and then we'll jump into some stuff.
Let's do it. Thank you, Calvin, so much for having me. And what you were just referring to is that 5 minute energy reset. Like it's like an energetic shower. Like if we shower every day, we should clear our energy every day. So that's what you were just referring to. It's something that's really powerful, especially if you've never done it before. You're going to instantaneously probably feel a big shift. So I'm Christina Deering. I am a shaman, a business intuitive, and my mission is just to help people live out their passion and purpose and to get paid abundantly for it so that they can give back into the collective the way that their heart and soul desires to. So I always say, money in your hands is good for the world. It gives you options to be able to say yes to the things that light you up. And so it's my mission to support people in living out the thing that they know that their soul came here to do. There's always a way. If it's on your soul, there's a way to do it. And so tuning into our intuition, allowing us to be soul led in that way is honestly the fast track to building. So I'm really excited to dig into all of that today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.
Yes.
And there's so many questions inside me because I don't understand. And I've never really, you know what? I've never really sat down. I probably should. I've never really sat down to try to learn about all this spiritual stuff, what it means. I just, I'm gifted with it. I have it. I'm just a regular guy. And I always tell people I go to football games, basketball games. I watch Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
So Godfather. So I'm a regular guy, but the spiritual stuff, it's there.
Hmm.
It's there. And why I spent 5 years writing about it is because I'd like people to know it's there. It
Yeah.
it's there, and that's what you do. So,
Hmm.
okay. So, again, people need to go to ChristinaDeering.com and absorb and partake. But what makes your approach different from traditional business coaches? Because there's business coaches all over the place, but
Hmm.
you're just different.
Yes. In so many ways. The thing that makes me so different is I've hired so many business coaches, and what I think that they really tune into is like, they're like, this is the strategy. Take this, copy, paste it, make it your own. And so what I was noticing is I kept, hiring these business coaches and they were making the amount of money that I wanted to make. Like, let's say whatever it was that they were making, I was like, okay, I want to make that. So I'd hire the business coach, I'd copy and paste the business strategy, and I'd be like, okay, she's making multiple six figures. I just made $300 in 6 months. Like, what is actually happening here? And honestly, that $300 came from my mother. And I was like, okay, something is off. What is going on? And I recognized it was because I was building in alignment with someone else's blueprint. Like I wasn't following my energy. And I always equate it to when we're building a business, when we're building something, it's meant to be in alignment with our soul. And so the important part about that is it's like hiring a business coach who's a night owl and they're like, take all your calls at 9 p.m. on. And you're like, great, that's how you make the money you want to make. So you take all your calls or you schedule them at night and you're a morning person and 9 p.m. rolls around and you're like, I don't want to show up for something I just built. And so that's just an example of how our energy plays such a huge part in building what we're building. And so we have to start to tune into how does my soul uniquely desire to build? And is my energy in alignment with that? And also, it's a huge part of that is healing what's in the way of what you want. So you could have the perfect soul aligned business strategy. But if there's a part of you that has a huge fear of success or doesn't believe that money can come to you or flow through you or whatever that block might be, you will sabotage yourself all day long. And so, a huge part about business and growing your business or growing anything into the success that you desire for it to be is we have to heal what's in the way of what we want. Those limiting beliefs, they matter. They're energetically weighing us down and out of alignment with what we want. And so, that's a huge part of what I do as well with my clients is I help them tune into their intuition. How does my soul want to build so that I'll show up and I want to keep showing up and then I want to scale it? And also, how can I heal what's been in the way of what I want, whether it's this lifetime, past lifetimes, all of those things. We go really, really deep. And that's like almost like opening up the floodgates to be able to really move forward.
Mhm. You just said something that resonated with me, a fear of success.
Mhm.
That's kind of common, isn't it? And a lot of
It's
people
so
don't know.
common.
Yeah,
Yes.
because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know they have a fear of success. Sometimes I think I've had that ailment,
Mhm.
and taking an aspirin just doesn't seem to cover it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And it's so much deeper than just the fear of success. Like
yeah.
it's like not the thing, it's like the nine layers under that thing. Like, where did that originate from? And that's when we uproot it and release it. And then suddenly it's like they don't even resonate with it anymore. They're like, oh, permission to be my greatest, most highest self. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Fascinating. By the way, I'm taking notes. I don't know if you see me
I
right.
love
Oh, yeah,
it.
I'm taking notes. I don't know. I don't know. I know Johnny Carson never took notes when he interviewed people on TV, but I take notes because and I wrote Fear of Success here because that's
Mhm.
really interesting. So you do talk about soul aligned success.
Mhm.
Uh, what is soul aligned success?
Yeah. That is building a business in alignment with your soul. Like, what do you uniquely, how do you want to build and grow and scale and what feels good for you? And I always say it's based on your energy. Like, when we think about tuning into our intuition, a lot of people get really tripped up because we have a lot of stuff going on in our mind. And so I always say, like, when you aren't sure what your intuition is, tune into your body. Like, does it feel expansive, like you want to lean into something, or does it feel constricting in some way? And so I always say follow what feels expansive, release what feels constricting. Maybe it's not yours, maybe it's just not yours right now. And then you can lean into what feels like yours. And so that's what I think is so powerful about building in alignment with your soul is it's the way that you uniquely came here to build, which again, I think where a lot of other business coaches get it wrong is, or not wrong, there really isn't a right or wrong, but they're basically saying there's one way to build. And it's like there's an infinite amount of ways to build. How do you want to build? And what feels good to you? And also, are there different legs of your business that you desire to do? Like for me, it's not, I don't just do one-on-one coaching and masterminding. I'm also a speaker. And there's all these other things that I got these little puzzle pieces around that really got me excited. And it's like, well, you could hire 12 different coaches for that because they're so niche down. But I'm like, be all of you, be the fullest expression of you. And so I feel like all of you is celebrated and we're meant to just follow the thing that lights us up the most. For some people, that's writing. For other people, it's this, that, or the other. And so there's no rules. Just follow what lights you up.
Like that. Follow what
Hmm.
lights you up. I like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Why do so many brilliant entrepreneurs, as I'm reading and researching, so many brilliant entrepreneurs kind of stay stuck, like it's six
Mm.
figures, they never move beyond.
Mm. Yeah. It's energy. Everything is energy. And I think a lot of times we start to think the old paradigm and the energy that we kind of feel as a collective is like, I have to do more to make more. And there's only some people think there's a finite amount of time. Now, I think time isn't even real. We could do a whole podcast episode on that. But to make a really long story short, people run out of quote unquote time. And so they feel like, okay, I'm pushing myself. There's no way I can do more. How could I do more and make more? That doesn't make sense. And it's about shifting the energy to actually build and scale your business the way that you want to. And so I think a big part of that is people will hit this almost ceiling around like, do I have enough time to actually build this? Like, how could I even like 10x this? How do I go from 6 to 1 million, 6 figures to 7 figures? Like, I have to 10x my amount of output. There's absolutely no way. So I think a lot of people get stuck on that. Like, how can I actually do that? That doesn't make sense. But also it's around healing those energy blocks. That's a really, really big one because making money can be easeful. Attracting in the soul aligned clients can be easeful. Raising your prices can be easeful, but it's about healing what has you think that it's not. And so that's a really big part of it is I believe the healing is almost like one of the biggest puzzle pieces to scaling. Yes, there's like different ways like strategically we can talk about scaling to 7 figures, building a team, putting divine masculine structures in place so you can be in your feminine flow. But there's just so many different things that I think people spend a lot of time focusing on strategy and like so much of it is made up of like the energy, like, and what people think it's going to be like. And they put all these caps on themselves because they have a fear of it will take me away from this or I'll never be able to do this and this. You can have it all. And so it's about really like believing that you can have it all in the cells of your body.
So I wrote um, time, healing, energy, and what you just described, these
Mhm.
powerful, wonderful words,
Mhm.
something to go back and talk about. Can you describe like a powerful transformation that you've witnessed in someone?
Yes. So I had a client who was actually kind of stuck in that 6 figure mark where she was like in the multiple 6 figures and she was like, I want to make seven. Like, I just want to impact the world. Like, she has this incredible mission. She wants to just transform people's lives and she's doing it. But she had this huge block around, actually, it was a block that she had with one of her parents around getting to the next level version of success. Now, the way that I always describe it is basically our energy is a sum of all of our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. And so when we have like these heavy, heavy feelings like shame, guilt, anger, when we have these heavy emotions, we're out of alignment with that next level version of success. Like what we want is at a higher vibration. You hear people talk about that. But we don't think about the fact that we're being weighed down by all of these like emotions and stories and all of these things that are from our past and past lives and beyond. So we've done like these really big clearings so that she was able to then kind of raise her frequency. And just last year, she passed the 7 figure mark, and she was like blown away at the fact that she actually wasn't doing anything that differently. She just changed her energy and what she was doing.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't about doing more. It was about how can I change the way I feel about what I'm currently doing so it doesn't feel so heavy, so that I feel better, so that I don't feel blocked, so that I'm no longer trying to get my parents to validate me. It's more about like, wait, I just want to serve. Like, and how can I validate me?
She changed her energy.
Yeah. It's
So
powerful stuff.
it's powerful stuff. Hey, I know it's powerful stuff because
Yes.
I
I
live
know.
it. I live it without any kind of guidance. That's
Mhm.
that's I don't know what it is. It's not a problem. I just all the pieces are there. They're all floating around, and I've had great spiritual connections. But changing your energy,
Yeah.
interesting, interesting.
Mhm.
Um, I like this question. We touched on it before we went on air. What's the role of intuition in growing a business? And then I asked you before we went on air about that. Intuition is really your spiritual
Mhm.
connections, and it's your spiritual soul, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. It's you tapping into your highest self. It's being guided by, it's like this is like a little pixelated version of you, like this inside of this body right now. And there's such a bigger version of you, and it's like tapping into the infinite energy and the infinite wisdom that's going to help you say, okay, even though this doesn't look good on paper, it feels right. Or even if this looks really good on paper, it feels out of alignment. And the way that people feel intuition without even realizing they're doing it is if, let's say, they go on a first date and they're like, okay, this person looks amazing on paper, but like they're just not my person. Like I don't want to, like my parents love them, but I don't want to kiss them, you know? So it's like, well, wait. And so we can kind of feel like our body is kind of shutting down. And it doesn't mean that person is right or wrong. It just means it's not mine. It's not my person. It's not my soulmate. So set them free, set yourself free. And then you go on this other date where you're like, okay, doesn't look perfect on paper, but you just have this intimate, perfect connect or this soul aligned connection where you're like, I feel like I've known you for lifetimes. Like I want to lean in. I want to get to know you more. That's your intuition telling you things about a person, about an opportunity, about your business, about where you're supposed to turn when you come up to the light. Are you supposed to go straight? Are you supposed to turn left? And so it's like really tuning into our body and figuring out like, what is my body telling me? Because it's ultimately it's like tapping into infinite intelligence to then say like, how can I utilize that information to help guide the way that I'm living my life right now? It truly is our fast track, and it's stuff that I believe can't be taught. You can teach people how to tune into their intuition, but that's not something where you can say, hey, copy and paste this. This is how it works. It's like, no, that was so individual to you. That was your miracle. We can't teach miracles. Miracles just simply are. And so I teach people how to tune into how to be led into their next miracle.
The intuition, it's a fascinating thing because
Mhm.
6 years ago, I had this tremendous intuition to
Mhm.
tell this story.
Yes.
So that intuition to
Mhm.
tell this story cost me 5 years. It took me
Mhm.
5 years to write this. So intuition is powerful if you
Yes.
tap into it.
Mhm.
And if you go to the store and you buy a container of milk and a container of intuition. If you can do that, you know,
Mhm.
if you can do that, to tap into, both, uh,
Yeah.
it's powerful. And
Mhm.
again, I did it, not really know what I was really doing
Mhm.
because there was no guidance here. I just had this powerful spiritual intuition that I need to tell this story. So that was 5 years of my life.
Mhm.
My first book, sitting watching Casablanca and then spending another 5 years writing a novel about some guy watching Casablanca,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
changed my whole life around. But what I'm reinforcing, Christina, is it's what you said about, tuition and the spiritual thing. Um, I think it's time to just go off topic for a second. I like a couple of these questions. They're fun. You don't even have to answer it, but here goes.
Let's
Uh,
do it.
excluding family or friends,
Mhm.
excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Hmm. Jesus or Mary Magdalene? I would love to. I mean, Mary Magdalene, I'm like, you weren't really written about in the Bible. Let's talk more about you. What are the secrets behind all the things? Like there's just they're starting to write more about Mary Magdalene, but I would just, I mean, she comes to me. She's one of my ascended masters, and so is Jesus. And so I receive messages through them all the time, but to meet them in the flesh, I mean, what a gift, But I meet with them anyways in the ethers, which is fun.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the need in 2017. I went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre
Mhm.
in Jerusalem, pretty holy place, and
Yeah.
they let you crawl through a little, like a little tunnel, two people at
Wow.
a time, and yeah, you are in with Jesus's casket
Mm.
and where he was buried and where he was resurrected from. So I put my hands on the
Wow.
and
Body chills.
yeah, for 2 minutes. By the way, I was walking with a cane. I
Mhm.
couldn't walk. Uh,
Mhm.
I needed to get a new knee. The pain was so bad I couldn't walk, but I did the trip anyway because I didn't want to disappoint my wife. But I did that meditation thing, and the following day, I wanted to go to Nazareth, and I saw Joseph's Church, and right next door to Church of the Annunciation, Mary's Church, and of course I'm walking by myself
Mhm.
because nobody wants to walk so slow because I have a cane. And I went into the basement, and there's a little shrine to Mary. I did my own personal meditation, um, and when I finished, I kind of walked up the steps to the main level of the church, and I felt a terrible pain going down my leg. And then I started, there was an entrance on the side. And I took one step to walk out, and then I did another one of these, oh my gods.
Mhm.
And my wife and sister-in-law came running. What happened? Are you all right? I said, I just got healed.
Mm.
I don't need a cane anymore. No more pain. No more new knee. Can't
Mhm.
play tennis. So that inexplicable.
Yes.
I mean, inexplicable.
Mhm.
And I lived it. And there are witnesses. Uh,
Yeah.
Powerful. It's powerful stuff.
Mhm.
I have a theory. Um, I'm asking you. This is another off topic. I'm thinking, are we like antennas that
Mm.
if we unroll ourselves and unroll ourselves and open ourselves up, the more that we unroll and open, the more we receive?
Mm.
Is that
I Yeah, I mean, when I think of an antenna, I think about being in alignment. And so when you are in full alignment with your truth, it's so much easier to tap into that frequency. You're like, okay, this is my truth. I feel it in my body. Now let me see what's in alignment with that. Ding, that's in alignment with it. And then you start pulling in people, opportunities, information based on your own personal antenna. And I believe there is no truth. There's only our truth in the moment, and that can change in an instant. But what is your truth right now? Get in alignment with that, and then allow yourself to channel information that's going to be in tune with that or the truest version of self in this moment. And I feel like we always evolve. So us today will be different from us tomorrow, but allow yourself to just tune in and channel. And so when I think of an antenna, it's almost like channeling information that's in alignment with your soul that's going to help take you somewhere. Or just know, and honestly, it could be even inside of the mystery school that is you, by take you somewhere, it could even be deeper inside of yourself.
uh one more off topic? You have any favorite movies?
Mm. That's a great question. It's so funny because it's like I'm so spiritual, and then I also love Will Ferrell. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like his humor is just so ridiculous. So I have so many facets to myself where it's like, yeah, Step Brothers. Like it's like ridiculous and funny to me. Chevy Chase, let's talk about Christmas Vacation, just like ridiculous humor. So when I watch movies, I'm looking for something that's lighthearted. I'm looking for something that's just like just a ridiculous comedy that I can almost zone out to and do my own thing to. But I don't really watch a lot of TV and movies. I used to, but I will say, like, for me, it's kind of like I don't even travel that much because I can travel in my mind's eye, and I'm like, and I don't have to pack a bag. That's nice, So for me, it's more like I'm so tuned in and tapped in that when I do watch movies or TV, it's super mindless. You know what I mean? Like that's like I find I get information through channeling or books, and then I just let myself just totally zone out when I'm watching something on TV.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I like
Yeah.
I like that question because
Yeah.
I'm just an old movie person.
Oh, nice. You can get
Yeah,
to know the many facets of someone,
yeah,
from that. I love
yeah.
it.
You
Yeah.
do. It's a good
Uh-huh.
peek, a little bit, little peek inside. Okay, moving
Totally.
on. Back to business.
All righty. Back to business.
How do you help people heal money blocks and limiting beliefs? Because you must have that must be pretty rampant, limiting
Yeah.
beliefs.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's many different ways, but I will say a really big one. A lot of it comes from past lives. And I think some people, and it's our subconscious. And so a lot of people are like, oh, let me just say enough money affirmations. Let me consciously think about a time where I didn't feel like I was enough. It's like, yes, but what we're consciously aware of is just the tip of the iceberg. So much more of like the healing happens underneath the water. And so it's about like for me, I use tools like the Akashic records to be able to go into someone's entire soul's existence to say, here's what I'm receiving from this lifetime and from this lifetime that maybe you don't consciously remember. And then I just help them through the different modalities actually move that energy out of their body, and love on that part of themselves. Because sometimes it's just like so deeply in like in a corner that it's like that part of you just wants to be seen, witnessed, and loved. And so when we can bring that part of them into the light, often it's like it dissolves, so like it melts, and so it's really powerful. So that's a really, really powerful way to heal money blocks. There's something else that I do too that I think is really important, and I call it the seven figure shift. And I'm happy to give you a link to that for anyone who's tuning in that wants it. But basically, it's christinadeering.com/shift. And what you do is we have to normalize success in our body. So this is why I think so many people that are, let's say they're born with money, they're like, yeah, money just comes to me easily because it's normal for them. They've normalized success. It feels like, yeah, isn't money just always available to people? And so we have to get our nervous system on board with what we're calling in. So, for instance, a lot of people I work with, they get a little nervous when they're going out on stage for the first time, or they're charging X and they want to charge Y. And so, what I always say is when they use this exercise, the goal, it's super fast, it's like a 10-minute exercise. And the goal is to actually just normalize what success looks in their body. If they want a New York Times bestseller, can you start to tell your body that that's normal? And then when it happens, it's like, oh, it's like deja vu. Like, of course, of course. And I channeled this exercise because one of my clients asked me to ordain her wedding. And I remember being like, yeah, like it was just a full body yes, like an expanded yes. Like, I'm like, yes. And then my ego started coming in and it was like, oh no, like what if you screw this up? Like this is a really important day for her, like do you even know what you're doing? So I was like, okay, I am going to actually visualize this going well while simultaneously feeling safety in my body while it's going well. And then it just felt normal. So when the day itself happened and the groom was missing and it was starting late and people were walking down the aisle at the same time, even though all of that was happening, I still felt grounded and rooted and like this is going to be the best day ever. And it's almost like because I was so rooted in that, everyone else around me was like, you're right. It's okay that the groom isn't here yet. And you're right. It's okay that people are walking down the aisle and the music isn't playing yet. And so when it actually happened and we found the groom and all the things, it was like a normal everyday thing where it was like, it's not about me. How can I serve? And so it gets us out of our head back into service. When we can get our nervous system on board, that's a huge part of just being able to serve.
But anyway, they still married? I'm teasing. No, no, I'm not.
I love you.
No, I'm teasing.
Yes.
Good question. No. Um, funny. There seems to be a movie about that whole thing. Maybe it's Father the Bride.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that movie. If you want to add that to my category of movies,
There
Father
you
of the
go.
Bride.
See?
Yes.
See, there's
Yes.
the spiritual, the energy that I
Yeah.
channeled and boom, I came up
Mhm.
with.
It's one of my favorites,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's two versions, the
Hmm.
Steve Martin one and the Spencer Tracy one.
Oh, I was thinking Father of the Bride and then Father of the Bride Part Two. I
Yeah.
haven't seen the Spencer Tracy one. Okay.
It's Spencer Tracy and Elizabeth Taylor. It's an old,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and
Cool.
he's beyond wonderful, Spencer Tracy.
Yeah. Cool.
And
I'll have to tune into that one.
yeah, I'm almost sure it is Spencer Tracy. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Same premise and stuff. Okay,
Cool.
it's funny I said that. That is funny I said that. Um,
Yeah.
so what does burnout look like
Mm.
in a heart uh um
Like a heart-centered entrepreneur.
yeah
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah,
trying
because
to
it's going to be a little different than someone who's in a job that they already hate. Like in someone who's doing what they love, burnout is going to feel like heavy energy. So often we're like growing and scaling and we're doing all these things. And all of a sudden, I notice a lot of my clients will have like almost too many one-on-one clients at once. And they're like, oh, I just can't serve to the capacity that my soul desires because now I've got 15 one-on-one clients during the week, along with the other things that I'm doing, versus when they were, growing and scaling it from 2 to 3 to 8. And so it's going to feel like heavy energy. And that's where I always ask people to tune in to say, one, why is it feeling heavy? Do you love what you're doing? And if you love what you're doing, it probably means you need to raise your price point for it. Or maybe you need to be able to not only raise your price point, but offer less so that what you give is more. So I think a lot of times people when they're building are like, let me give them full access. Let's meet weekly. Let's, like they just they want to give them everything, which is beautiful and it's from the heart. But at some point, it's like if you're giving everyone everything, are you really serving to the highest capacity? Because now you're kind of burnt out, you're a little run down. Like when you're showing up, you're like, oh, I haven't had lunch yet because I'm on back-to-back calls. And so I always ask people to tune in to say, what part of this journey feels heavy? Is it the price point? Is it what you're doing? Because maybe the offer is out of alignment now. Maybe you sunset that and you bring in something else that's in alignment. And so I invite people to always look into it as far as like from an energetically like heavy perspective, tune into why it's heavy, and then we'll make shifts accordingly. And that seems to be the ticket to suddenly they're charging more, they're able to serve in a way that their heart and soul desires, and then everybody wins.
I like that. Everybody wins.
Hmm.
Um, what is the prosperity portal?
Mm.
And how does it accelerate through breakthroughs?
Yeah. So the prosperity portal is really fun. So it's just something that I created where it's basically a collection of all of these healings that people can tune into. And the women in my mastermind, it's called Transcendence, which I could get into a whole story about how that name came to be. It was directly channeled, but Transcendence. And so inside of Transcendence, they get access to something called the prosperity portal. And essentially what it is, and so do my one-on-one clients, but basically it's all of these recordings, it's these activations, it's like shamanic drumming activations, it's light language, it's all of this cool stuff that allows people to really tune in to what's in the way of what I want and how can I actually utilize this to shift and release what's in the way. So I call the prosperity portal like a medicine cabinet. It's basically like, okay, what am I experiencing right now? And what can I take off of the medicine cabinet and utilize to get me to this next level version of success, or to heal what's been in the way, or to just like normalize what I'm experiencing, or to calm my nervous system because maybe they're in fear, or they're about to build something brand new and they're like, if I build it, will anyone come? Like, should I invest? Should I do that thing? So for me, that's what it's just like a spiritual medicine cabinet. And there's so many different ways to tune in and to move energy. And I always say, use your intuition and start to kind of muscle test and say, like, which of these do I want to pull off the shelf? And then you utilize it and then see how it helps to move the energy.
Another off topic, as I'm listening to you, is there, uh, I think I like this question. Is there, well, I'm trying to spit it out. Well,
I
is
love it.
there an age,
Mm,
an optimum age that somebody should jump in and use you?
mm,
I mean, I'm looking back on my life that I'm doing stuff as I'm going to become an octogenarian soon enough.
mm, mm,
And I say to myself, hey, listen, I'm happy, everything's worked out, but all this energy that's coming out now, if I would have had you
mm,
20 or 30 or 40 years ago, you could have made a difference and saved
mm.
me a few decades. Is that a valid thing to ask?
I love this question because I think we all wake up at different times. Our soul invites us to wake up spiritually at different times. So, this is why I have clients that are in their 20s and clients that are in their 70s, because there is no optimum age. It's like, when are you, because everyone's going to have spiritual awakenings in different ways. And when they do, they're going to want to lean in and say, well, how do I optimize what I just found? Or can you help me make sense of what I just experienced? And so I always say, like, follow what feels right in your soul. And I don't even believe really age is real. I think it's how do you feel? How do you feel in your body, mind, and spirit? Because we're way beyond this like physical body. I mean, if you believe in past lives, you are way older than what you're experiencing now in this body. So I don't believe there's an optimum age. I believe it's like lean in when it feels right, and that will take you to the next level.
Okay. I guess I've
Mhm.
done that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the universe
Mhm.
where I'm at, but sometimes I say I could have maybe done this 30 years ago and done it quicker, and maybe I'd be at some different place now. But nevertheless, I'm grateful for where I am.
Mhm.
Gratitude's a wonderful word, and gratitude fits in your world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yes. Uh, it's the thing that has us actually start to look for the stuff that's going to take us to the next level. It's like when I'm in a state of gratitude, I'm now aware of more and more things, the green lights, the things that are going well. And I always say there's an infinite amount of realities that are happening. And so when you're in a higher state of, or like a higher vibration, gratitude, let's say, joy, peace, you're now activating a brand new version of this reality. You're meeting different people that are on the same frequency. New opportunities are coming to you that are on the same frequency. And the same is also true when you're operating from a lower frequency. And I don't think that there's a right or wrong. We are human beings and we're going to oscillate. So I think there's something to be said though about like to not just live in toxic positivity. Like we're going to feel angry. We're going to feel sad. We're going to feel grief. And so what I always say is feel those big emotions and step into the medicine cabinet, right? And start to alchemize them so that from there you can then step back into that genuine gratitude versus just pretending like something didn't exist. Like, oh, I'm just going to pretend like I'm not grieving that my dog just passed away. It's like, no, 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 no. Feel it, allow yourself to grieve, and then allow yourself to be held in that so that it doesn't feel so heavy. And then you start to neutralize it. And then from there, you start to step into genuine gratitude. And so I always say, like, there's just different versions of reality that are happening, which is why I have a friend who always gets his car stolen, like, because he's just like operating on a lower frequency, and I'm like, okay, but you're attracting people that are also operating on that frequency, right? But when I'm operating at that higher frequency, I suddenly am meeting people where I'm like, oh, I was meant to meet you. And if I wasn't like allowing myself to be in that gratitude, I might have missed you, because I would have just been so focused in on myself. When we're in anger and all of those states, we're focused in, right? When we're in gratitude, we're pretty much focused out. Like we feel completely fulfilled such that we can serve, we can lean out and kind of, who else can I support? How can I lean in? Different ways like that.
Um, what would you say to someone who's ready to quit their dream?
Mm. Mm. So I always say we are writing our autobiography in real time. Like we're literally writing our autobiography in real time. Do you want this chapter? How do you want this chapter to read? Do you want this to be the one where when you're 90, 100, you're going to be like, yes, like you went for it anyways. Yes, I know that it was scary, but like you went for it. This is the one where you want that like 90-year-old version of yourself to pull a popcorn out and be like, she went for it or he went for it. I'm so grateful that you did that leap of faith, that you went all in, that you trusted that things were going to work out. And so I always say, do you want this to be the plot twist chapter or do you want it to read like the last 9 chapters or the last 20 chapters? And what do you have to do differently such that this is your plot twist? And usually it's some deep healing. So if someone's ready to quit on their dreams, there's probably something energetically that's in the way, right? And so I always say, like, that's an invitation to go deeper within yourself to understand what is having me want to quit? What are the things that feel like they're out of alignment? What feels energetically heavy? Let's move that. And then it becomes so much more easeful.
Okay. Um, Finally, you have a really interesting podcast.
Mm.
Um, why don't you talk about the podcast, the history, things you do on the podcast?
It's 11:11 here, which is fun that you're asking that on the 14th.
Is
Those
that
are your
right?
secret
You,
numbers.
you
Yes.
noticed 11:11. Wow.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Wow. I mean, that's my energy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so grateful that you asked me about that. So yeah, it's called You Unlimited. So You Unlimited podcast with Christina Deering. We're going to rebrand it here soon, so it might shift in the name, but essentially it's the space itself is meant to be a powerful portal in and of itself. I set powerful intentions before every guest comes on the space. We ground before we step in. And the goal is I basically just magnetize people into that space that have built something uh, that is their version of success. And I ask them how they built it. So there's a lot of people in there that are making 7, 8, 9 figures. Great. That's the version of maybe that success, but also their version of soul aligned success. So maybe they just followed something. Maybe it's not about the money. Maybe they just followed something that felt like no one else got it, but they did it anyways. And they're so proud of themselves for having leaned into a space that felt incredible for them. Like, even if your parents don't get it, even if your partner doesn't get it, if you feel like this is your path and you went for it and it ended up becoming something, that's the story that I love to unpack with people. Like, how did you get there? How did you stumble? What did failure look like to you? Quote unquote failure, right? I always think failure is just an opportunity to learn and expand, to hold that version of reality you're calling in. But we unpack that. And so it's really fun to learn from people that are living their version of success, whatever that looks like. And I just ask them, how did you build it? What did it look like? And so it's really fun to peel back the layers because, of course, being a shaman, I mean, there's a lot of spiritual elements, there's a lot of trust, there's trust falls that happen. And so I just absolutely love how people get really genuine and vulnerable in the space. And I think a big part of that is we really tune our energy with one another before we dig in. So you really feel like you're like a fly on the wall. Because a lot of people after the episode, the people that I interview, they're always like, I've never told that story before. Like I didn't even know that we were going to go there. And so I find that really fascinating because we always set the intention that whatever people are most meant to hear, that's what will come alive in the space. And so if you're magnetized towards the podcast, again, it's called You Unlimited, but if you're magnetized towards it, use your intuition to find the quote unquote right episode for you. And there's going to be medicine there for you because I set that intention behind every episode.
And I have to, when I have the time, which I will make the time to kind of tune into some of those because I mean your whole journey and what you're doing, it's so real and it's so important that it's because I live it in little bits and pieces, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're doing this because I live it and I understand it, and I haven't done more, and there's some regrets, and I continue to learn and experience and it's quite a journey. And like I said, I would have met you 40 years ago,
Mhm.
who knows? But Christina, this was great. We did good. Uh,
Yeah.
we did
And
good. Um, uh, and I'm officially inviting you to come back anytime, to talk about the spiritual stuff and anything else. I'm here. I'm sit 12 hours a day in this chair. I've worn out a pair of arms on this chair, sitting here like this. And
I love
again,
it.
so thrilled that we had this opportunity. Uh,
Mm.
and I thank you, truly thank you, because you've filled. I got 2 pages of notes, and I try
I love
to
it.
write so that you don't see me writing. I try to be,
I couldn't tell. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I try to be obscure about it. But thank you so much. So
You're so
I'm
welcome.
gonna stop recording. Don't leave. We're just gonna do a 2-minute wrap.
Can I share with you one more thing before we stop?
Please, please,
Okay.
everything you want.
Yeah, the one thing that was coming through is you are right on time. Like when you're like, oh, I wish I had done this 30, 40 years ago, written the book 40 years ago. What if you were meant to write it at the exact time you were meant to write it so that it got into the hands of the exact people that were meant to read it? And if you had published it 40 years ago, those people wouldn't have gotten their hands on it.
Yeah. Wow, right on time.
Hmm.
I like that. Wow, right on time. I guessed because the universe knows best,
Hmm.
and all of this, and it's all been orchestrated. And sometimes I think I've been down this way once before. You know what else I'm smitten with?
Hmm.
Maybe you can tell me about this. I've been to Sedona 12 times,
Hmm.
and one of the things I noticed when I got home from Sedona, I have this powerful feeling of deja vu all the time.
Yeah.
So I could be driving in a car and I pass an old farmhouse that has some
Mm-hmm.
trees and it's casting some shadows on the side of the farmhouse. And I look at it as I'm driving. I look at
Hmm.
it and I say to myself, I've been there before.
Hmm.
I haven't, but
Hmm.
I've been there. So deja vu is all over me. That feeling is all over me, and I've had it, for the last 20 years. Is that part of the whole?
Hmm.
Is that what is it?
Hmm.
Is it?
Yeah. So, you know how I was talking about how time really isn't real? And Einstein really gets into this, which I think is fun. I haven't studied his work, but uh, for me, what I've channeled is the only real moment is now. So when we're pulling in the past, let's say things that are low vibrational, we're choosing into that, right? But we're also tapping into future timelines at the same time. And so what I believe deja vu is it's kind of like your soul's recognition of significance of certain timelines that are all overlapping at one time. So it's kind of like oh, I'm really connected to something spiritually right now. This feels significant for some reason. And so I believe the feeling of deja vu is almost like your soul's recognition of this matters. Allow this to resonate. Allow this to be something that you kind of tune into to like hmm, what is this from before? So for instance, if you've driven by, let's say sometimes people will travel to different countries and they're like, deja vu, I've been here before. it's possible you've had a past life there too. So, but if we're talking about time at not being real, yes, there's quote unquote past lives, but also if all of that is happening at once, it's going to feel like that deja vu feeling as well. So it's relatively hard to explain, but it's really like our souls recognizing that there's a significant thing that's happening in this moment in time that your soul is wanting to bring to the surface, such that you recognize whatever it is it's trying to communicate to you in that moment. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. There's a
Okay.
lot of sense. And I actually think it's a gift.
Me
And
too.
it's a gift, and I love it. And it's strange, and I try to figure out what that means. And yes, I was told I'm 1,200 years old, and
Yes.
maybe but I've had the deja vu for so many years, and it is a gift,
Mhm.
and it's haunting, and it's a warm feeling.
It is
It's
like,
a
oh,
very
something
warm,
is important here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
what is it? And sometimes I dwell on it, and sometimes I don't. Uh,
Mhm.
it's kind of like an old Rod Serling TV show
Mhm.
episode. I forgot the title, but it has something to do with going to Willoughby, going back to this
Mm.
model town, from 200 years ago, and they play music in the gazebo,
Mhm.
and I'm always thinking I'm going to Willoughby. It's kind of
Mm.
complicated. Um,
I love it.
anyway, yeah, yeah, you truly made my day,
Too.
and
You need
beyond.
to.
So thank you. I'm just going to stop recording. I don't want to stop recording, but I'm going to stop recording.
I love it.